Hey guys! Sorry, I gotta blow dry my hair, but we need to talk about Survivor first. So just don't mind me. We're late to the game, but we're catching up. We're catching up. We're gonna talk about episode 1, and then we're immediately gonna film episode 2 that aired tonight, and then these videos will go up. But what do you think of this new cast?
Well, let's start off by saying this cast has no clue about anything about season 41. They were basically filmed right after season 41 cast came back. So the show hadn't come out yet, but like they had already done season 41.
Oh.
So they know nothing about all these advantages that are going to be coming out of the woodworks.
And Jeff also said it's going to be a lot of the same stuff, and then tweaked a little bit, and then some other new stuff. So
it is still 26 days, like the previous season. It's not as long. So I mean, obviously, as newer Survivor watchers,
I don't know.
I don't really have an opinion on that because like that's what I'm used to. But
yeah, but it is how it is.
The only thing I can compare it to would be like Big Brother and then Celebrity Big Brother, where it's like the game's different because you have so few like time in between.
Yeah.
But let's get right into it. So I'm gonna show the tribe divisions. We have Taku, Ika, and Vati. Probably butchered them, but it's
no,
fine.
That sounded about right. It would have sounded funky.
Easier than the last 3 tribes. Can't even like.
Yeah, you're right.
But that's the cast, and then we kind of start off like right off the bat. We get introduced to the 3 tribes. We see Jeff. He's giving them the rundown, explains that season 41 had already been filmed, and they were all like, oh my gosh, like I've seen every season of Survivor except the previous one because I don't even have an opportunity to. And apparently Ricard said that they saw the new cast at the airport coming back.
That's kind of cool. That's kind of funny.
Like before they left. So, or he like heard word that they were like flying, like crossing paths basically.
We love Ricard. We stand.
I wish he won. Anyway.
Girl. Me too. Hashtag but no, I'm kidding.
You deserve final 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No,
it's okay. The opening challenge is probably one of my favorites that I've seen. And we already get some juicy little
bodies. So try to act like this tops everything.
I mean, I've seen clips of Survivor like challenges, but not like throughout the whole season like gamut, I guess. They basically have to first they have to untie 2 oars, right?
Yeah.
And then the next person has to run into the jungle and get 2 oars from like a net. And then the next person, this is where we get our little advantage.
Going bang, bang, bang out the gate. Okay.
I know, it was like 20 minutes into the season. We got but this is okay. I'm gonna say I liked the integration of this one a lot more than the previous season.
Yeah.
I guess technically there wasn't any sort of thing like this. It was more like the summit thing.
Yeah, but that happened quicker, I feel it. So that's why.
Yeah. So I do like this, that they basically have to run so they're out of the way of everyone else. And they all think that, oh my God, they must be running a long distance. They must have to
they're gone a long time. I was dying.
Yeah. It was so funny.
It was hilarious.
This season so far has been like hilarious. Like the confessionals and just like the comments throughout. And some of the not so smart moments of some of the people. We'll get to that in episode 2.
Well, there's that. Yeah. There's
just like comedic gold. But they basically have to run off, and they see this thing that says you can either agree to all like lie basically to your tribes and have the secret power between the three of you. And they were like, the amulet basically, if there's all three in power, they get,
Find that out till later though. They just know they're getting something.
they're getting some sort of advantage. We find out later it's when all three are in play, it's an extra vote. If two are in play, meaning one of them has been eliminated, it's a steal a vote. And then the third one is basically an idol.
Yeah.
They all pretty much immediately decide like, we've been presented with this, like the game's shorter. That's a big factor for them. They're
Well, I feel like, I mean, I know it's a quick decision. You don't know anyone, but you don't know anyone on your tribe either. I would just feel like it would be an easy,
way to build a relationship.
Yeah, and I'd just be like, why would I not, like, I just got here and I'm getting offered something. Why would I just be like, no, this is, let me tell everyone no and be awkward and run back? Like, that's weird. You're not going to,
especially building connections with people from other tribes before the merge. That's a big like help.
Yep.
An indicator, because they really don't interact that much unless they're in a challenge or like,
and even then they're not really standing around talking to each other. They're still kind of divided on their teams. So it's really,
I'm sure they have rules on like the type of conversations you can have during challenges
and be like, hi, that's
the three that end up running into the advantage amulet, I'll show here. We have Lindsay, Drea, and Hai, and they immediately kind of form.
Well, the only one that was slightly hesitant was Lindsay.
Lindsay at first was like, well, guys, like, I don't want to start off so trusting of like coming off so distrustful to other people. And then Drea immediately was like, you're gonna have to like be distrustful or like deceitful eventually. You might as well do it now.
I feel like Drea was like, but we came to play. So like, let's just stop. Let's play. Let's go. Like,
yeah. And Lindsay was like, okay, I guess. And Hai was just kind of going with Drea. And
yeah,
I think it was the smarter move.
I think it was the smarter move. I mean, I feel like if you were the only one that didn't want to do it too, you're kind of creating enemies.
Yeah, it's like you kind of have to go with it.
Yeah, I feel like you kind of had to, especially if 2 out of 3 already wanted to.
So once they decide to do it, they basically have to, they don't have to. They have mud and blood in front of them that they can smear on themselves.
And they did
to make it look like they got messy. They did like a splotch and like blood splot here, and then they just take the oars and like they act like they, you know, uncovered them, or like they ran like a mile away. As they're running back, the comments are like, why are they bleeding?
and they're like yeah.
Oh yeah, he's like, are you bleeding? And he's like, yeah. Okay, yeah, let's just get in the boat. Okay.
Are you new here? Yeah.
the cutbacks from like, oh my god, it's super intense, like they're trying to decide like to take the amulet, and then they're all just like standing around like they've been running for a while. Like, how far away are they running?
Hilarious.
I'm sure someone was probably like, that's a little suspicious.
Yeah, they just didn't show that part, but someone had to, I mean, I'd be shocked if there wasn't one person that was like,
or they were like, did someone like fall and like break their leg or something? So they come back, they row out to this like platform that's floating, where they have to untie, is it 2 more oars? Or no, it's they have to untie something and then bring it back to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can't remember right now.
And then once they get back, they get on their platform and have to create like a stick, a bamboo stick, made of like individual sections, to try to get like a key off of a little hook. Yeah. And most of the teams are like fairly even. I will give a quick shout out to Jonathan from Taku for jumping in the water and like pulling his boat like it's nothing.
I didn't mind watching. I'm just gonna say I didn't mind watching.
I like Jonathan and most of that tribe.
I do, but I'm also like, my first love's name was Jonathan, and he's a piece of shit. So when I hear that name, pissy, but it's okay. That was a long time ago. It's fine. I'm over
I
it.
really like Marianne. I like Omar. Jackson.
I didn't like where he was going in episode 2.
Omar?
Agreed. I got what he was doing, but
Are you talking about Omar?
Yeah, Omar.
Yeah.
That's episode 2. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah, episode 1, I was like, okay, like I kind of like him. He seems cool.
Yeah.
We don't really see much from Lindsay other than the amulet, and then Jackson we really don't see until inevitably tragic news.
I know, I was so upset. I really liked him.
Yeah. And then Myra we don't really see much of either.
Yeah.
Until the next episode.
Episode 2.
But for Team Ica, it ends up becoming fairly easy, I'd say, for them. Yeah. Roxroy ends up making himself like a big kind of presence by being able to get the key.
He also decides he wants to be bossy as F at the camp. I thought they were for sure going to be like,
even after Drea came up to him and was like, you need to like bring it in a little bit, like you're being a little too like
no, he
bossy.
asked being a little too much, and she was like, I mean, you should probably ring it in a little bit. That was her way of saying yeah. And he's like, I'm a stay-at-home dad, this is what I do. I'm like,
he's like, these youngins, like they don't know what it's like. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, I was also like, you only have 2 kids, like how, like, I'm not trying to be mean, I'm just saying, like, he was acting like, you know, he's got the freaking Brady Bunch at home and he's running a military camp of crazy kids. He doesn't understand like how people don't know that, like, you got it. I'm like, I have 3 and I don't act like that. And 2 are the same age.
I don't know. It was
annoying.
I think, as you'll see from our opinions on episode 2, a lot of the first impressions change from episode 1, which is typical for a show like this. It's just how drastically you go from liking someone to disliking them in the next episode is just kind of insane.
It's kind of a lot. It's overwhelming.
Yeah. But we'll get to that. So Team Ica ends up being the reward challenge winners. They get Flint and no rice.
Nope, no food. Fuck that.
It's just like Flint and why can't I remember? Flint and then like other supplies.
I can't remember. It's not
I guess
much.
like a pot and like
yeah.
I think that's it.
You don't get much. It's really
no. So they win the reward challenge. We get a little bit of drama from kind of all the tribes of people wandering off, particularly Tori for is it Vati?
Or yeah, I don't know.
No, on Team Ica, she ends up wandering off, and immediately Romeo and Zach goes up to her and is like, just letting you know, like everyone's saying like your name,
bitch. Bitch.
And she even like when she came back, she was like, I'm definitely feeling just kind of like, I guess bad, or even like I feel like selfish, or like I feel deceitful, even though I didn't even do anything wrong necessarily.
No, I mean, she was looking for idols, but
she was, and then she tried to play it off like, sorry, I didn't come back with any food. And I was like, that's the whole point of you leaving. Okay.
Not looking good, sweetie. The lie's not adding up. You gotta go home.
So yeah, then I guess we can move to the more depressing part of the episode.
No, you're missing the other part. So when the 2 losing teams, when they get back to or they get to camp, they have the option to do another.
Oh, right.
They have the option to do another like task type thing to earn their Flint and stuff.
And it's the same as season 41's kind of redemption thing.
or you can do like a puzzle where you have to count the triangles within the triangle, and both teams pick the triangle. And they both got
it. I don't remember there being a you get 2 guesses thing, but I guess that might have been a thing.
Well, no one did that one. Remember, no one did in last season. No one did that one. They both did the water, didn't they? Or maybe not.
I thought the team,
because Deshaun and Gabe did the water.
Yeah, they both kind of originally. Is it Mike? Everyone's kind of looking at him and is like, "Oh, maybe you should do the water," and he's like,
I'm not doing that.
No.
He didn't. So pressure. I don't.
Yeah, I mean that is a lot of pressure to have the whole tribe basically rely on you.
It was 2. It'd be better partner, but you don't have nobody.
Because you get, is it 3 or 4 hours to do either?
I think it was 4 hours, and you got two.
I'd rather do a mental thing for 4 hours than a physical thing for 4 hours that you might not finish.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I would rather do the physical.
For me, even if I was physically like confident in myself in finishing, I'd be like, at least I can have a chance of like just guessing by the time that it's over. Whereas like you have no opportunity if you're not done to try and save it. And at least you're working with other people.
True, that's true. And the whole team could do it if they wanted to.
Yeah. I think most of them were kind of like, let's all count to ourselves, or like these 2 will count, then these 2 will count, see if we get the same number. It ended up being 51, which if you first look at it and you told me 51, I'd be like, I thought maybe like 30.
Yeah, 20. I didn't think that high, but I didn't get a good look. I wasn't sitting there trying to count.
Yeah, and I was trying to think of a strategy. I was like, maybe I draw out like each triangle that I see, but then I feel like that get too confusing.
Or you go, you do this half, I'll do this half, you do this half, and we'll add it up, and then somebody else just count it and see if we get the same answer. Like you could have gone about it a couple ways, I would think.
They both ended up getting 51. One team ended up guessing 50 and 51, and then the other team guessed 51 and 52, which was kind of scary because they were like, even though we're confident in 51, it's like, if we're wrong and we missed one, do we do 52? Or if we overcounted, do we do 50?
Yeah.
And like, it was kind of like a fun little like thing, but they both ended up getting the right answer. So they ended up getting, their supplies.
Got their stuff.
Okay. Now we get to
the sad part.
Our first departure of the season, Jackson, on day 3. Basically, Jeff comes in on the island on his little boat, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, Jeff!" And then they're like, "Oh my God, what are you doing here?"
It's really not good when Jeff comes.
He pulls Jackson off and is basically saying, Survivor requires you to be super transparent with everything going on, any medical history or conditions, medicine. And he basically waited to tell them the day before the show started that he came off of lithium because he was starting to wane off of it because his wife's a nurse. And he was like, okay, by the time like the show rolls around, I'll have been like off of it or like weaning off of it, and I think I'll be fine. Where you can't really like stop a medication like that and then go into a situation like Survivor where you're not in good health.
Yeah.
Like you're being dehydrated, you're not eating right. Yeah. And you could kind of tell just like Jackson looked flushed, like anytime like it would cut to him, just did not look in the right mental space. And I know, was it Lindsay was like, you need to like drink some water or something because like you're not looking great.
Yeah, I think it's just too much of a liability for the show, unfortunately. Like they said, well, we decided to let him start. I get that, but I also feel like maybe they shouldn't have even done that. Like they just gave him like they knew they were going to cut him, but they let him have the first 48 hours. And it just sucks because I actually really liked his personality, his
story
and everything. And I really wanted to see him play. But unfortunately, he had to go. He was really good about it. Like, he was like, I get it. You know, I still am glad I came. These 48 hours is better than no hours. Like, it's still a dream come true. And
that might have been why they let him on the show, in the sense of like, at least he gets to experience it versus us just pulling him.
Yeah. Well,
I guess. I don't know, but then they have backups. They have to, like, alternates.
yeah, but I mean, I don't know, maybe they just, because he told them so last minute, they didn't think they were going to need those alternates, and then they're like, okay, well, we'll just let him start and be nice. I don't know why they decided to. I would think they'd be not want to take that risk at all, you know, but whatever, because then I would think if you're willing to take that risk, then like, do you care about that, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, so Jackson ended up being, I guess, technically not eliminated, so we'll say evacuated. Any sort of injury or medical incident, it's technically an evacuation. So that was day 3. Also, real quick, while we're on the topic of medical stuff, forgot to mention in the first reward challenge,
oh yeah,
Mr.
Daniel, right?
Daniel from the Vati tribe ends up falling and popping out his shoulder.
Yeah, like dislocating it.
And continues on through the challenge.
And then
they're all like, are you okay? And he's like,
like,
I think I popped out my shoulder.
They're like, let's see if we can put it back for you. And then they did.
Oh my God. And then the nurse or like the doctor comes out and is like, okay, so like we can either like, you know, take you off, or like we can try pop it back in. And he's like, just pop it back. And they show it. It made me a little
that like grosses me out. But it's funny though, because apparently when I was little, my shoulder used to pop out of place all the time because I would try to like run away, and I was like tiny, you know, short, and my parents would grab me and like my shoulder would pop out to the point where my parents had to learn how to pop it back in place at home. So apparently I've been through this, and this one does pop funny. So I'm gonna guess it was this one because I can catch it. It does some weird shit.
Like, yeah, it's this one.
It's gotta be, I swear to God, it has to be this. Something's not quite right. But but yeah, but it still grosses me out. And apparently I went through that. Like, my mom would pop it back in place at home, but I'm like, I was like 2 years, like I don't remember, and I could not watch that part on the show. I was like, no, I don't do.
It's just so what's the word? So off the bat that I was like, ooh. And it, like, again, not to like discredit his injury, but it's just like he just kind of like fell on the beach. And like he was like this doesn't feel right. So yeah, that was some extra little like excitement to the first challenge.
Careful, because that means it could pop back out pretty easily.
Yeah, I think, you know, with any injury, you have a risk of re-injuring yourself if you're not careful. You know, even though you may have like healed like a broken arm and you just got out of your cast, doesn't mean you should be doing like flips all over the backyard and like jumping on the trampoline, you know?
Definitely not the thing.
So I think we can move to the immunity challenge. Fun setup, probably going to be the thumbnail for this video. But the fun little dragon puzzle, which does not go well for one of the tribes, which we'll get to. Basically that's how it works. I don't know what I'm saying. Basically they have to swim out to a boat where they have these 3 chests, and once they have all of them, they take the boat back. They slide them under the like nets, and then they have to dig up the bag with coconuts and a key attached to a little buoy, which is used to unlock the chest, which they didn't show on the show, but that was part of the challenge.
And they had to carry like all like the chest and everything was hella heavy. Everyone was like busting their ass.
The puzzle pieces, I think all the puzzles in general, where like you're having to push something so heavy and like exert all this energy, and then it's like boom, a mental comp where you have to put a puzzle together. I think it just throws everyone off.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's because all you're thinking is like, oh my god, my muscles are jelly right now, and then
okay, let's think.
Yeah.
And
so they have to do this giant dragon puzzle. It's like a little circular puzzle, and the first two teams to solve it, the first team is Taku. And this is before, or no, this is after Jackson is evacuated. So even down one player, they ended up coming in first place.
Good for them.
And then the Vati tribe ends up coming in second, which leaves Team Ica to be third place. So we're immediately going from first to last.
Not working out too well at this point.
But it's okay, I guess. The other two teams,
Zach drops the ball on the puzzle.
Which will lead to eventually later in the episode, as you can guess, he kind of gets pinned for
their loss,
them even being in tribal council to begin with. So as much as he kind of tried to connect with Romeo, right?
Yep.
I feel like he was having difficulty making any sort of connection, meaningful connection that they actually were like back and forth, like, we got you. It was more like he had their back and they were kind of like skeptical, especially after the reward challenge or the immunity challenge.
Yeah, I agree. That's the vibe I got too. So I don't know.
So Team Ica had to forfeit their flint. They can win it back at the next immunity challenge. But we can kind of move to some of the pre-tribal council talk. It's pretty set in stone. Like, they're all like, okay, Zach basically blew it for us.
You gotta go.
We're gonna vote out Zach. And he kind of doesn't really, I mean, I feel like he kind of knew.
Right? I think he played a shot in the dark, so he knew.
I think him realizing that he lost the challenge, he kind of was like, okay, well, there's not much to go off of. It's probably going to be me. So he ends up using his shot in the dark at the tribal council. When they get there,
he attempted to be like, well, maybe we should get rid of what's her name?
Are you talking about
that
Swati?
No, the one that was looking for the idol.
Tori,
that's it. Yeah, he tried to kind of throw Tori under the bus as an option, like, well, she was looking for an idol, we can't trust her. And it kind of hit a little bit, but all it really did was like piss Tori off.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, you didn't really convince anyone else, and now Tori's even more mad and wants you more.
That's pretty.
I mean, it was something. He tried, but I did like him. I think that he kind of reminds me of someone like an Ian or like a Steve.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Where like they're a little socially awkward, but like probably super intelligent and like kind of funny.
Kind of like my
yeah, and especially someone that you don't really think like Survivor. You know what I mean?
It'd be fun to see them do something.
Yeah. So unfortunately, tribal council, it's pretty
set, but they have a little back and forth for sure.
A little bit of like, as I was not aware, tribal council was kind of like Jeff kind of poking at everyone to kind of make them like say something that will get them in trouble. It's basically just like, oh, well, Zach did end up losing the challenge, but some people were doing some stuff, like basically just trying to like cast any sort of doubt. Doesn't really work. And once they start the voting, Zach plays his shot in the dark, which is another thing carrying over from the previous season, where
And
if you play it, you give up your chance to vote, but you get a chance to save yourself.
yeah. And of course, he's not safe. It didn't work, but he tried. You know, it's worth a shot.
And I think especially since he knew it was probably going to be a clean, like, sweep vote, it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to save myself with my vote. I might as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think he did the right thing by trying at that point. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I don't even think it must just suck to go out first in any situation, but especially like after losing the challenge, I feel like it just makes it that much worse.
Yeah, like it's just kind of like,
I mean, like they don't really have like, I'm not mad at them because it's like I would have done the same thing. Whoever lost the challenge probably deserves to go home first, but
when you don't have,
still kind of sucks.
Yeah, exactly. But he was pretty about it too. He's like, I mean, it's not the title I wanted from this episode, from my season on Survivor, but I still got to be here, and I do have a title up. I'm the first one evicted, so all right.
First one evicted, but not technically off the season.
Yeah.
Jackson was like, I beat you. Yeah. But that's pretty much this episode. We get a little bit of a teaser for the second episode, but not much.
It was good. It was a good episode. I did really enjoy this first episode. Now, what we're about to talk about in this next video, episode 2, didn't do it quite as much for me, but it wasn't bad.
I would rank this premiere, I think, over the previous season's premiere.
Yeah, this premiere was better.
I just think I like the cast as a whole. I think I might like this cast. Their at least relationships, I feel like have potential. I won't say yet that I like it better.
No, I would say off the bat it comes across better. The people in general, like there's more cohesive. Like it's more like I kind of like almost everyone they're showing. And
I will say it's a more even spread because I feel like it got a little heavy-handed in the beginning of the last season, focusing on Shan, focusing on Xander, and like I understand like each episode has its own like main character, but it's felt so far, even episode 2, much more even.
Get a little bit more from majority of the people. So yeah. But yeah, that was this episode. We're about to log off this. And you need to like, comment, share, subscribe, because we're gonna talk about episode 2 right now.